safe enough and your education is where it is, let's start reinvesting in that community. You know, let's not get to the point where we can afford to be here, so we go there. No, we can afford to be there, and but let's just try reinvesting in this community to make this community more like that one. But if we have the protections to do that, then I feel more comfortable reinvesting in this community.
Yeah.
It's a weird, all these things are all over the place and you gotta put them together.
Well, we don't treat our country as if it's a giant community.
Right.
If it was a giant community where everybody's equal, we would look at all the problem spots and say, okay, well, there's these crime-ridden, poverty-stricken communities that can't seem to catch a break. So the people that come out of that, even though we're saying, hey, there's an open playing field to compete, that's not true.
Right.
Because they're coming at it with a massive disadvantage from the jump. An education disadvantage, an environmental disadvantage in what they see around them all the time.
Yep.
They're around a lot of I can't catch a break dudes, right?
And a lot of trap.
A lot of criminals, a lot of bullshit, a lot of different ways you could go wrong, a lot of things that could set you down a terrible path in life, and it's around you all the time. And if we try to engineer society to say, well, how do we have less people that are disadvantaged? How do we have less losers? What's the best way? Well, you got to go to the problem spots. All the problem spots we should be dumping money in. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't do anything overseas, because I think a lot of the things that we do overseas probably help and protect us over here.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of shit we don't have to do. And that shit, we could take that money and just fix cities. Just go in and throw a ton of money and compassion and education and community centers and make places safe for people to learn how to be an adult.
You know what the U.S. military budget is yearly?
It's insane. It's insane.
Do you have any idea?
No, I don't.
It's like 600 billion.
I think it's higher than that.
It's higher than that.
I think it's in
now.
the trillions. I think it's in the trillions.
That is crazy. That kind of takes me.
Let's guess. You say 600
I
million?
say 600.
I say 1.3 trillion. I'm crazy.
600 billion.
I don't even know what 1.3 trillion looks like. What is it? Dun, dun, dun. Technically both.
Yeah, the thing that when I googled it, the last one that was reported, I suppose, was 2015. It was 597 billion.
Which year? 20 what?
2015. The new one that Trump just signed that was approved is for 1.3 trillion.
That must be where I heard it.
Oh boy.
That's a lot of cash. How much for education, Mr. Trump? We don't need no stinking books.
Oh, I think that's actually the whole bill. That's 700 billion of that is for the military.
Oh, what's the rest of it for? Schools.
Yeah, a little bit.
Can you imagine if someone just said 700 billion for schools? You'd be like, what? Yeah, we're not fucking around anymore.
Yeah.
We're ready to take over. We're going to invest 10 years with $700 billion a year in a school system.
Man, that sounds nice, right?
Right. What do you think the education budget is for the country? If you had to guess, what's the overall public education budget in the United States, primary through high school?
I never thought about it. That's awesome. If we go with 600 billion for the military, I'm gonna go with 100 billion.
I'll go 100 million. $100 million.
As of 2011, discretionary budget was 70 billion.
Whoa.
That's up from
Education budget?
Yeah, 2006 it was 56 billion.
Huh. So it's higher than it has been in the past. 70 billion, and what does that cover? There's too many fucking people.
Yeah, I would say that what it covers, what it's supposed to cover and what it actually covers is a different thing. Yeah.
What's it supposed to cover?
I'll have to look deep into that.
You just said there's too many people.
There's so many people.
So check this out. I think the same thing, right? And I did some slight research. 1955, I think it was. Guess what the population of the planet was?
Oh, we did that the other day. It was like 2 billion.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Two and a half.
Yeah.
2.5 billion. And now we're at 7.5 billion.
Well, we went with when I was in high school. We went with like 85. I think it was 5 billion. So just since 1985 to today, it's gone up.
Doubled from
Almost.
from the 50s, and now we've added like another half to that, 50% to that.
So many people.
But like I was thinking about that, and I'm like looking at it, and like if it's exponential, right? In 50 years, we will have nearly 20 billion people on this planet.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah, everywhere is going to look like Los Angeles.
Like, imagine if there was still, like, I think in the 1800s, there were, like, still millions of people on the planet, not billions.
Here it is right here. The president's 2017 budget provides $69.4 billion in discretionary funding. But that's education?
Yes, this is for the
Education bill?
Yeah.
$139.7 billion in new mandatory funding for the U.S. Department of Education. The budget supports implementation of Every Student Succeeds Act, which embraces many of the reforms in the administration has long supported to improve outcomes for all students. It also makes crucial investments that build the administration's work to advance educational equity and excellence, support teachers and school leaders, promote college affordability and completion. These include, I think college should be free. I think we could figure out how to make college free. I'm with Bernie Sanders on that. It's a rare thing. I don't think you should be in fucking debt up to your asshole by the time you get out of school. I think it's crazy. It's a fucked up way to start your life. And people are like, well, you want to make a living? This separates the people that really want it and the people that, no, bullshit. You get stuck in debt, and you can't even get out of that debt. It's not even regular debt. It's blood debt. It's some weird debt.
But doesn't having a more educated society help everybody in the long run?
Sure.
Everybody will make more money. Everybody would make more money.
Yeah.
Like, I don't
less
get that.
losers. But you would have to make sure that whoever the fuck is teaching these kids, you'd have to be real stringent with what you're letting get pushed through if you're gonna throw that much money on it. There's a lot of shitbag teachers out there. We'd have to clean that up. You know, a lot of people.
Hey, there's a lot of shitbag teachers out there, and now they want to give them guns.
That's the dumbest shit of all time.
That's
the dumbest shit of all time.
That is the dumbest shit of all time.
You can't expect teachers to become soldiers. That's crazy. That's not what they do. They're not warriors. They shouldn't be out there having firefights with pilled up, former high school students. It's fucking insane. I don't know what the solution to that is, honestly. I do not know what the solution is. The NRA thinks it's having guns everywhere. The anti-Second Amendment people think it's getting all the guns away. But you're not going to get all the guns away.
The thing about, people say guns don't kill people, people kill people. I'm like, no, people with guns kill people.
They definitely do. Hear exactly how much the government would have to spend to make public college tuition free. How much?
What do you think it is?
Okay, let me guess. $1 trillion a year.
Way less.
Way less?
Yeah, I would say.
Really? How much?
According to this article.
Okay, what does it say?
About
what is the website? The Atlantic?
The Atlantic.
Okay, that's a left-leaning website, but they're not ridiculous.
Yeah, it got updated. So the article says $62.6 billion, a mere 62. But there's updates on the bottom of the article that said some readers say that's in addition to what they already spend. That makes it maybe double.
Well,
So
here's one way they would make it really fucking cheap. Have it available for free online. Everybody should be able to get an education online. I really firmly believe that. I think they should have courses that you could just sign up and take them like a regular college course. You don't have to be in a physical location anymore. That's so retro. That's so unnecessary. Get in your car and get to traffic and go to UCLA. The only thing good about that is you're in the room with someone like a Jordan Peterson or some really good professor that's really inspirational, and you're in there with them. They talk to you, and you're like, oh, okay, and you get to be in their presence and see oh, this guy was probably my age one day and he figured all this shit out, and there's maybe some extra juice to that.
I used to have a bookmark saved. I think it was Harvard. It was a long list of recorded lectures that were from any class. There probably was a limit to what they were doing. Right. Definitely not accessible anymore for public, but it was fully accessible. Anybody that wanted to had it saved.
I don't know, Joe. I mean, when I think about that, like I said earlier, all these formulas fit into different things. You say that, it's you could be at home or looking at them on the screen and learning versus being in the same room. And it's but you could also go to a strip club and watch strippers dance, or you could be at home watching them porn. And when you're at home watching them, you're going to pull it out and rip one. You know?
Right. So you're saying
so I'm saying
if
you're
get
at
your
home,
education home, you're just going to beat off? That's a real problem. Louis C.K. was saying once that he has a computer that he writes on that's not connected to the internet. because you just can't get distracted and force himself to.
That's what I'm saying. The problem is the distraction with having access to everything right there.
That's true.
But you open the window with the teacher. That's the biggest part.
It's discipline.
It's discipline, and that goes back to what I believe that ties back into what I was saying before about all this entertainment out there. Everybody's id is always like scratching at you, like, hey, pay attention to me, give me something to do.
So this is some onlinelearning.harvard.edu. So they allow you to study the pyramids of Giza, ancient Egyptian art and archaeology, and it's free.
Yeah, this is a whole course on it.
Oh, that's nice.
There's a bunch of them.
How many courses do they have that are available for free?
Tons. I don't know. I just clicked one that looked interesting.
Excellent. They have a methadone? Oh, medicine. I was like, what are you giving people?
They get methadone online.
Yeah, what?
All these courses you could take.
Oh, that's nice.
I mean, the problem is you don't get credentialed. So
That's
if somebody
fine.
wants you to have a job for it, you can't show them, like, I took this free course and passed it. But
that seems to be less and less of a factor in the future. I think having a degree is going to mean less than it means now.
I think so. I feel like with the internet, you can, if you have the right guidance, you have the syllabus from a college course,
right? And
you have the internet. Without getting the paper that says you've done it, you can literally learn what you would learn in a classroom.
You should have to take a test for the job you do. Like, say if you're a car stereo installation person, you should have a real deep knowledge of the electrical systems in an automobile and what electronics sync up with that and how it works well and what makes them work and how does a radar detector work, how does a CD player work, you should have to take a test based on whatever the job it is you're interested in. You know, and if you want to be a doctor, obviously we're talking about different ball wax. You know, then you should have a full understanding of humans. You're cutting people open and draining their shins and shit. You should, you should have a real deep understanding of the human body. But, like, how does it do you any good if you want to be a mechanic or if you want to be, you know, whatever the fuck you do for a living, there should be a way where you could, like, if you're an advertising executive, you should take a test to find out how much you know about the advertising business. And there's a lot of shit that you don't need to know that you went to school for to get a degree.
Yeah, there's some weird things that go along with that, though. It's like you have all these things that you have to take these courses to graduate.
Yeah,
you know,
to get a general education.
Yeah, you have to get a general education.
Which is a good thing, right? You want people to understand.
You want to understand the world, right? But there are things that are more important. And we take that back to high school, and we could talk about, like, everybody knows the Pythagorean theorem in high school, but you can't do your taxes. And you know, you start working. Most people start working at like 16. When you start working at McDonald's or the Gap or something at 16, 17, you're still paying taxes.
Lower than all depth. Bring together in yourself all opposites of quality. Heat, cold, dryness, and fluidity. Think that you are everywhere.
Sometime now, just to see you again.
Think that you are not yet begun.
And I've been counting days to get away, to see you again, see you again. Been finding ways to get away, to see you again, see you again.
Hard labor, spun wool, and watery beer approach.
We got millions of reasons
Here's an amazing passage.
to let it all go.
On the world,
Hope we're not too broken.
this is an incredibly
I know I'm not always strong, and I've been counting days to get away, to see you again, see you
was to me, a psychedelic passage. But he who presents all things to us through our senses, and thereby manifests himself through all
I
things,
feel like I'd follow my life for this. This one part, this one third, I've always missed. No, just don't let it go. I started the fight, but now I'm losing. So will I fall again? I'm scared of heights, yet it was me who ran away.
Being in himself, be manifest to you through your bodily eyes. Each of these stars, too, is confined
Oh, I can't forgive, can't forget myself. The peace that I'm missing, it kills me inside. I need help, oh please give me back this one part, this that I'm sorry I lost it. No, I let my weapons fall. I'm drowning in the fears, and now I know.
Expansive, and I'm not implying that they used psychedelic substances. The evidence for that is incredibly murky and hard to get at, and probably they didn't. I mean, one of the real tragedies of Western history is that Western Europe is so poor in psychoactive plants. I mean, had Western Europe stayed in touch with the mystery religion. the late Middle Ages was a period of intensely working out all the associations between minerals, colors, perfumes, plants, musical notes, and styles, so that you could then bring together all these things for purposes of magical evocation. And if any of you are interested in this, the book to read, which will point toward many others, is a wonderful book called Spiritual and Demonic Magic from Ficino to Campanella. Some of you may remember Campanella. Hell of a fine book. Hello? And in the Renaissance, over a period of about 3 generations, this became a real problem, because what starts out as angel magic ends up as out-and-out demonic conjuration. Something which I've noticed my 14-year-old son has an incredibly unhealthy interest in, which I did as well at his age. I hope he's not so fast in church to help with that. Yeah, so I mentioned the dating error. It was Lactantius, who was one of the fathers of the early church, one of the patristic writers. That's that generation of theologians that followed Christ, who canonized the Christian religion. And he placed Hermeticus as older than Moses, older than Pythagoras, older than Plato. And then it wasn't until Marie Casaubon corrected that problem. See, we forget how the really transformative breakthrough that was represented for Western Europe by the recovery of all of this ancient literature. It had been completely lost. And also a misimpression that probably needs correcting is, I think most people who are not schooled in Western history think that the further back in time, the more quote-unquote superstitious people were. This isn't actually the case. It isn't a case of the further back in time you go, the more belief in demons, magical conjuration, and stuff like that you get. The 10th, 11th, and 12th centuries in Europe were periods of remarkable piety and intellectual cohesion. Of course, it was also some kind of a fascist nightmare. That's how they achieved it. They had stamped out paganism. They had pushed heresy and heterodox thinking to the very distant frontiers of the empire, of the Holy Roman Empire. And people were not superstitious, and people were not obsessed with horoscopes and conjuration and this sort of thing. Where that all began was where it reached its culmination is in the 16th century. The 16th century, the 1500s, it was the most magical, obsessed century in the last 10. And alchemy and conjuration and talismanic magic and sympathetic magic, all of these things flourished really not as a throwback, but as a kind of prelude to modern science. Modern science is an incredibly demonic enterprise, and we will see as we discuss this stuff that in a curious and rarely discussed way, the program, the agenda of magical dissidents in Europe have been entirely achieved by the forces of what we call modernity. It's simply that it has been done in an entirely secular metaphor. I mean, if you take even the trivial belief about alchemists, that they were concerned with changing lead into gold. Of course, that isn't what it was about, but there were plenty of con artists running around on the periphery of these deeper scenes who were claiming they could change lead into gold. Well, in the 20th century, we routinely change lead to gold. You do it with neutron bombardment in particle accelerators. And of course, it costs far more to do it than the worth of the gold that you get out. But that really wasn't the point, was it? It was to prove that it could be done. The dreams of creating the homunculus are dreams that dovetail directly into the aspirations of modern biology, genetics, so forth and so on. The great chain of being of Aristotle is animated, given a dimension of motion, and lo and behold, it becomes the Darwin-Wallace theory of evolution. Merciliad talks about this, about how all the alchemical dreams of the 15th and 16th century have been brought to fruition in the 20th century.
Hey, you, wearing guacamole.
Again, in the absence of magical
Priscilla Proclean can tackle that
rhetoric,
part.
but certainly in a spirit of magical and Faustian recklessness, for sure. I mean, this is scientists, you know, they claim such a devotion to truth that decency must never stand in the way because they serve a higher God than human values. They serve the golem of the truth in some weird way that makes the truth okay, even if it kills you. I study philosophy.
the whole world at our feet, watching seasons change. Our roads were lined with adventure, mountains in the way couldn't keep us from the sea. Here we stand open arms. This is home where we are, ever strong in the world that we made. I still hear you in the breeze, see your shadows in the trees, holding on, memories never change. I want you to lift me up so high, high, a place that no one's ever been. Take me to oblivion. Ooh, I wanna feel the dark with you. Ooh, a place that no one's ever been. Take me to oblivion. Take me to oblivion. I want you to lift me up so high, high, a place that no one's ever been. Take me to oblivion. Ooh, I wanna feel the dark with you. Ooh, a place that no one's ever been. Take me to oblivion.
conspiracy theory
I
hat.
do.
Really want to turn that bitch to 9.
Yeah.
Michael Hastings was a journalist who was embedded. I believe it was in Iraq. It might have been in Afghanistan. But he was embedded in the Middle East somewhere, and something happened. Oh, that volcano erupted. Remember when that volcano erupted and they canceled all air flight for a long time?
Sure.
He was trapped over there with that, and they got way too comfortable with him. And so they started talking around this journalist the way they always talk. And he was joking around about Obama and making fun of Obama. And they said a bunch of shit they probably shouldn't have said, but that's just what fucking soldiers say when they're over there risking their goddamn life for something they probably don't even understand. You would want them to believe this is all for a good cause.
Right.
You would want them to believe everything that their general tells them.
Sure.
And if they gotta fucking crack some jokes at the president's expense to alleviate a little stress while we're out there killing strangers, no. Intolerable. Intolerable! You mocking the leader of the free world while you're out there killing strangers? You can't do that. So they made this guy resign. So it's crazy. Michael Hastings starts telling everybody that my life is in danger. Because people threaten my life on a daily basis. If anything happens to me, I do not commit suicide. Cut to him driving down, I think it was Sunset. A car going uncontrollably fast, slamming into a tree, the car exploding, the engine flying from the car. He's dead as fuck. They find amphetamines in the system, but that's Adderall, because that's what all journalists are on. They're all on Adderall.
Right.
So they tried to, the guy was on methamphetamines when he drove into a tree. Case solved.
Classic.
Good job, Dick Tracy.
Yeah. Let's just forget about it.
We connected the dots. It was quite easy. Meanwhile, there's people that have said with absolute certainty that with today's cars, it is incredibly possible, absolutely credibly possible, to control the car from a remote place and make the car do what you want.
Dude, definitely.
Definitely.
But I mean, I love this line of this direction we're going in here, man, because it's great, because it's like, this to me where it gets real. Remember that thing that people would always say, the government is always, 5 years ahead, 7 years ahead?
Remember it, I have it tattooed in my ass.
Did you get it at that club in Berlin?
You gotta know, the government's ahead, bro.
But it's true.
It's true.
All that money that they have. So where it gets really interesting is when you start thinking about what that means in relation to like computer intelligence and AI, and you start realizing like, man, whatever the shit is that they have access to at this point compared to what we think they have access to is so powerful,
right,
and so dangerous that anybody who they want to take out, they can take out.
That's a problem.
It's a problem.
That's a problem, having anybody to have that much power.
Well, I mean,
especially over the rest of us. It's bad for them. You know, and Kennedy talked about this when he was in office. He talked about secret societies and keeping secrets from people. And it's just generally, it's a bad idea across the board for humans. It's just bad for our human nature. And for groups to have ultimate power of surveillance, who would just look into your life, I mean, Edward Snowden proved it. It's obviously, it's too easy. It's too easy for people that work there to check on their ex-girlfriend, see what the fuck that bitch is up on her email.
Do you think there's secret societies out there that we're not really aware of?
Well, if there's secret societies that we're aware of, that's because someone along the line opened their fucking trap.
Sure.
And they let us know about a secret society. That's how we found out about Skull and Bones.
Right.
One of those pussies told their mom.
Yeah.
You know? Mom, they made me suck a dick and they filmed it. Now I'm in the order.
Isn't it like a glass coffin? Like
glass dick.
You suck a glass dick?
You suck a glass dick.
I thought you lay in a glass coffin.
And they jizz on you?
And they jizz on the glass. Like you're laying down.
take orders from neither man nor God. Believe in yourself, and you will succeed.
Every new day is a reason to celebrate, eh? One of these days, it's all by the drink.
Idea of like, you know, like we smack an ant or something. You smash an ant, and that ant has no idea what. There's no way that ant could possibly comprehend.
Soft, cozy, sheep, shoe.
Come and fly away with me. 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 Don't you be afraid, everything will change you and then jumping off the edge. They say dreamers never die, so come and fly, come and fly, come and fly away with me. We're rising, we're falling, we're making through. We're climbing, we're soaring, 1,000 views. We're rising, we're falling, we're making through. We're climbing, we're soaring, 1,000 views. Somewhere by the emerald sea, where the moon and water meet. Somewhere close to harmony, when the world is sound asleep. Something's gonna bring the change, journeys we are meant to take. Something at the edge of space, calling us to fly away. Don't you be afraid, everything will change you and then jumping off the edge. They say dreamers never die. Come and fly, come and fly, come and fly away with me. We're rising, we're falling, we're making through. We're climbing, we're soaring, 1,000 views. We're rising, we're falling, we're making through. We're climbing, we're soaring, 1,000 views. Come and fly away, come and fly away, come and fly away with me. Come and fly away, come and fly away, come and fly away with me. Something's gonna bring the change, journeys we are meant to take. Something at the edge of space, calling us to fly away. Come and fly away with me. Come and fly away with me. Come and fly bring the change. Journeys we are meant to take. Something at the edge of space, calling us to fly away. Come and fly away with me. 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 Don't you be afraid, everything will change you and then jumping off the edge. These the dreamers never die, so come and fly, come and fly, come and fly away with me. We're rising, we're falling, we're making through. We're climbing, we're soaring, 1,000 views. Somewhere by the endless sea, where the moon and water meet. Somewhere close to home with me, when the world is sound asleep. Something's gonna bring the change. Journeys we are meant to take. Something at the edge of space, calling us to fly away. Don't you be afraid, everything will change you and then jumping off the edge. There's the dreamers never die, so come and fly, come and fly, come and fly away with me. We're rising, we're falling, we're making through. We're climbing, we're soaring, 1,000 views. Come and fly away, come and fly away, come and fly away with me. Come and fly away, come and fly away, come and fly away with me. Something's gonna bring the change. Journeys we are meant to take. Something at the edge of space, calling us to fly away. Come and fly away with me. 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 Don't you be afraid, everything will change. close to harmony, when the world is sound asleep, something's gonna bring the change. Journeys we are meant to take, something at the edge of space, calling us to fly away. Don't you be afraid, everything will change. You and I, jumping off the edge. They say dreamers never die, so come and fly, come and fly, come and fly away with me. We're rising, we're falling, we're making moves. We're climbing, we're soaring, 1,000 views. We're rising, we're falling, we're making moves. We're climbing, we're soaring, 1,000 views. Come and fly away, come and fly away, come and fly away with me. Come and fly away, come and fly away, come and fly away with me. Something's gonna bring the change. Journeys we are meant to take, something at the edge of space, calling us to fly away. Come and fly away with me. 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 Don't you be afraid, everything will change. You and I, jumping off the edge. They say dreamers never die, so come and fly, come and fly, come and fly away with me. We're rising, we're falling, we're making moves. We're climbing, we're soaring, 1,000 views. We're rising, we're falling, we're making moves. We're climbing, we're soaring, 1,000 Somewhere by the emerald sea, where the moon and water meet, somewhere close to harmony, when the world is sound asleep, something's gonna bring the change. Journeys we are meant to take, something at the edge of space, calling us to fly away. Don't you be afraid, everything will change. You and I, jumping off the edge. They say dreamers never die, so come and fly, come and fly, come and fly away with me. We're rising, we're falling, we're making moves. We're climbing, we're soaring, 1,000 views. We're rising, we're falling, we're making moves. We're climbing, we're soaring, 1,000 views. Come and fly away, come and fly away, come and fly away with me. Come and fly away, come and fly away, come and fly away with me. Something's gonna bring the change. Journeys we are meant to take, something at the edge of space, calling us to fly away. when the world is sound asleep. Something's gonna bring the change. Journeys we are meant to take. Something at the edge of space, calling us to fly away. Don't you be afraid, everything will change. You and I, jumping off the edge. They say dreamers never die, so come and fly, come and fly, come and fly away with me. We're rising, we're falling, we're making through. We're climbing, we're soaring, 1,000 views. We're rising, we're falling, we're making through. We're climbing, we're soaring, 1,000 views. Come and fly away, come and fly away, come and fly away with me. Come and fly away, come and fly away, come and fly away with me. Something's gonna bring the change. Journeys we are meant to take. Something at the edge of space, calling us to fly away. Come and fly away with me. 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 Don't you be afraid, everything will change. You and I, jumping off the edge. They say dreamers never die, so come and fly, come and fly, come and fly away with me. We're rising, we're falling, we're making through. We're climbing, we're soaring, 1,000 views. We're rising, we're falling, we're making through. We're climbing, we're soaring, 1,000 Somewhere by the emerald sea, where the moon and water meet. Somewhere close to harmony, when the world is sound asleep. Something's gonna bring the change. Journeys we are meant to take. Something at the edge of space, calling us to fly away. Don't you be afraid, everything will change. You and I, jumping off the edge. They say dreamers never die, so come and fly, come and fly, come and fly away with me. We're rising, we're falling, we're making through. We're climbing, we're soaring, 1,000 views. We're rising, we're falling, we're making through. We're climbing, we're soaring, 1,000 views. Come and fly away, come and fly away, come and fly away with me. Come and fly away, come and fly away, come and fly away with me. Something's gonna bring the change. Journeys we are meant to take. Something at the edge of space, calling us to fly away. Come and fly away with me.
idea of like, you know, like we smack an ant or something. You smash an ant, and that ant has no idea what. There's no way that ant could possibly comprehend what has happened to it. Like when that, you know, you have a line of ants going into your sink or whatever.
Right.
That line of ants, they can't comprehend what you are. Like you walk by the line of ants, they have some instinct maybe to run away from you. A lot of times they don't even run away from you. You turn the sink on, kill like 30 of them in a second, but they can't, they whatever way they use to think, they can't process it, right? So death to that ant, it's going to be processing its extinction in some way that we can't even understand, right? So there's this idea, my friend was telling me that in the same way when a human dies, what we process is like, oh yeah, he got in a car accident, man. What really happened was some kind of like hyper-dimensional event that we can only see one tiny piece of that looks like a car accident. The way our minds process the thing being wiped off the face of this dimension is by like, oh, car wreck. But really, there's like all these other levels involved. So it's like maybe some hyper-dimensional entity just squashed your friend. And the way it manifested is like, oh, car wreck. It was a car wreck. But really, no. That's just the way our brains process that event from where we're at currently in our ability to like comprehend reality.
People listening to this going, does that mean I can text and drive? Texting and driving is easy. It's fine.
No, that's what they when they see you doing that, they smash you. You know?
Maybe it's just an accident.
What? Death? It's like, okay, human existence up until the point of flight was completely based on like getting, like you would climb a mountain and then you could see the ground like you're from an airplane, but that's pretty much it. Climb up a tree, I guess, you get some altitude, you can see this whole new perspective on what things look like from a high place, but you certainly couldn't get the perspective of flying through the air and looking down at all this stuff that formerly in front of you is like looming over you. It's like when I have 2 little dogs, adorable little babies, but you pick them up and like for you it's no big deal, but for that dog, it's seeing what's on top of the fucking counters, man. It's like doesn't see that usually. It's looking up at everything. So it transforms its reality a little bit. So flight transformed human reality in this intense way. And now the satellites floating around our planet have transformed it even more. Because we see, oh shit, yeah, we're on a planet. We're like, it's a ball that we're floating around, or flat Earth, whatever. So in the same way, the next sort of liftoff is to somehow rise above the time-space continuum, so that time itself becomes an object instead of a thing that we're stuck inside of. That's like the next big liftoff, and that there are already things that see time as an object instead of as a river that we're currently being rolled around in, and for them we look totally different. So that's like the next, that's what like maybe McKenna was talking about, the idea of the time machine or the singularity or whatever, is that like once we figure that out, I know there's never going to be a fucking time, I know it's insane, but theoretically it's possible, you know, people do say it could be possible. Like there is no reason for us to be stuck in the current way that we are. I mean, obviously for where we're at right now, this isn't a feasible option, but if it's possible and we exist in an infinite universe, then why wouldn't things have potentially figured out a way to get beyond the time-space continuum? So like, you know, we're looking for aliens inside of time and space, or you know, but maybe there's like the thing that we're looking for, we don't even have the technology to scan outside of past, present, and future, because that's what we're in right now. These things are like way outside of our understanding of what this even is. We can't even fucking see them, like the ants can't see us. Like, we can't even see them. We couldn't talk to them. An ant can't talk to you.
They put these people, they attached them to like this,
philosophy from, and we can be redeemed by giving you the Christian. We can be redeemed through Christ, but we don't deserve it. It is if you are saved as the magician desires. In Hermeticism, it isn't so much put in terms of compel, but the idea is that humanity, human beings, men and women of great spiritual accomplishment are co-partners in the project of being, and that God, as it were, stepped off the stage of creation with only 90% complete.
We must never stop the way.
And the rest is left in the hands of his brother. The Hermetica actually refers to humanity as the brother of God. So it's a completely different attitude toward being
we must merely make a start.
With power comes the potential
Savannah. I'm coming home. Savannah.
Remember that image in John the Baptist, sinners in the hands of an angry God, where he says you're like a worm suspended over in the pit, held there only by the love of a merciful God. You find that if you weren't a merciful God, you just let go of your thread and you go down the pit. In the Hermetic magic view, human beings are not tainted by original sin.
Lions gonna come.
No ideology is without the potential.
The birds have just begun.
The Hermetic attitude.
We will always take a stand
in a single aphorism
for the people,
by
for the
great Marcello Fellini.
Let's go back to
and what he said was, I have to, you know,
for the animals we
there's
stand.
no sexism in all of this. You just
Let's
have
go
to
back to
realize these guys
trees
were
were
primitive
sown.
types and they had to confront
Kids across the
so when they say man, they mean humanity.
Savannah.
The Renaissance magical attitude is summed up in Ficino's aphorism, man is the measure of all things.
The beauty of the world.
And this is a double-edged
Let's
sword,
not take a
because in a single
Savannah.
affirmation, you cast off the view of ourselves as a flawed creature. But when you say man is the measure of all things, I mean, you could be the chairman of the board of Louisiana Pacific or Dow Chemical. I mean, this is approximately their attitude. In other words, it ain't rainforests, it's not the life of the earth, it's none of that. We are to be the measure of all things. So it has to be tempered. We'll probably end up talking a bit here about the pathological expression of the Hermetic, which is called Faustianism is where you have unbridled ego, unbridled faith in the intellect, so that you that origin. And the reason that I say Western civilization is built on a series of myths because they got it all along about her being there was great